Hi, this is Pixie again. I'm just doing a quick one on Ghostbusters. Now, I'm probably not going to rush out to watch the film. I was never too keen on the female characters sort of taking a role, because I'm one of these retro guys that when I saw it when he was a young little kid with his dad, and I think two other brothers, I think. But yeah, so it was kind of legendary. It's a bit like sort of doing a reboot on Star Wars, making Darth Vader a woman and just changing all the characters around completely. It just like I don't know, it's gonna work. Anyway, there's more to it than that. I think this is part of pushing an agenda whereby male characters have become more feminine, and feminine characters become more masculine. So it's this reversal of roles. I think this is a part of what's going on with the movies. I don't know how well it's going to do. I was a bit worried about one of the actresses who mentioned about she's taking time off Twitter because she's been hit by a lot of negative feedback. The worst case scenario is that one of these stars end up dying somehow and they claim it's a suicide, which boosts sales on the Ghostbusters. So it's a very twisted world we live in, so nothing surprises me, especially if that's kind of the pinnacle point of their career, is to star in a movie. But I don't really know if it's going to be it's my cup of tea. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not going to bother to research it too much. It may be that I catch it or watch some clips about it or hear something, and it might just pique my interest. But I'm very retro, old school, so a bit like Transformers. I think that it completely sucks what they produced, because they just rehashed all the characters' names and made them different, and then they all get killed and stuff like that. And I think these robots I saved up for, and you're killing them off for fun. So it'd be like Devastator. You can't make Devastator into some giant dog, trash sucking dog. You got to have a big robot that makes big scary, prepare for devastation, and then smashes the shite out of things. And he doesn't die, so you can get defeated. But the idea, I think, if you kill off characters, best they get completely wrecked and rebuilt, and then it went downhill. For that was the Transformers anyway. I'd say if you want a real taste of Transformers, just get the old anime or their animated movie they produced. So but I think with Ghostbusters, the franchise went a bit downhill. It would be nice that they were a kind of spin-off. I think they just done like a reboot of it, or that in some ways they're connected to the old Ghostbusters. I think it's just a bit weird, the character. I think for it may sound a bit sexist, but it's not really. I mean, you do have it where the woman plays the hero, but it's not so often. She would be more likely to be involved with the organisation of the defence, or she takes on a position she doesn't really want to do, but she steps up to the role. Give an example of that would be like Aliens, where the woman's like Ripley, stuck in a situation and she has to cope, and her character develops. It makes her a bit more of a psycho eventually, dealing with aliens or dealing with situations that she's not really. I mean, she's had to have a bit of a breakdown over it, so it's not really in a normal structure. I mean, same for things like, I don't know, let's go on to Tomb Raider. I mean, Lara Croft. So she was a bit soft at first, but then she's been put through these challenges that have made her a stronger character. So I think if you throw something quite feminine, even if it's tomboy straight in there, I mean, the character's got to build up from a point. Ideally, if you're working, tomboys would rather work with men rather than all females, and then to have all females doing it, just a bit bizarre, like in that sense. But it's just because we live in a society whereby basically people take on role models, or they take on certain roles, even if they live in a society that's a bit more multifunctional in this, it's not as straightforward as like men do these jobs, women do these jobs. But there's preferred roles. I mean, it wouldn't be wrong to say that women's strengths are in communication and organisation. Men can often work lone work, and also they may focus in on one task and focusing on the completion. So they've probably got a higher threshold and tolerance to things like pain and endurance, based on if they're just targeting on one job. Any other situation, then maybe not. It's just You know, I'm not saying that women can't or they don't. It's just that there's a preference in the gender role. So you roll out these films whereby that there's everything's a bit mixed around. Like I say, the women save the men are a bit frightened to get into combat, or they don't want to play the male role. It's all feeding into this transhumanism, and that genders shouldn't be formed. They're kind of this mixed. Everyone's going to be have a non-specific gender. So then we got this one world order stuff and all this sort of this sort of thinking down the line of what a person represents. So society may have no gender, and this is kind of this attitude. It doesn't really work. But anyway, yeah, that's my little bit of gripe or moan about things. And just you might see a lot more films like this where they roll out, and it's not that the film isn't well thought out of. It's just that it's actually got a hidden agenda behind it. It's like, get the message out in these films. So there might be a lot of films that suck, but they hit upon certain points and you think, why is that in the film? Or why is that character, or references, or, you know, it's Illuminati stuff, to be honest. But the problem is that people in Hollywood, you've got loads of directors and people that are on drugs. So I think it's hard for them to hold on to reality and string something well structured together. If you look at sort of the older films and stuff in the past, it's a lot more cleverly constructed, because there wasn't maybe a necessary a reason to push these other agendas into films that they do nowadays. Now everything's accelerated in speed. There's a big demand to make profit on these films. Everything's overpriced. You know, so these like actors get paid millions for things, and it's just, yeah, it's just craziness really. So it kind of depletes skill levels there, and it can be like the brand, have someone's name having the brand to the film. Like you've got to have Will Smith in it, or get somebody in there who's actually like cream of the crop, or he's you know, he's in the limelight at the moment. So he's on these careers on the way up. So you got to get them into that film. So yeah, anyway, this is Pixie signing off, and speak to you soon.